Hello, Villages Honor Flight, and welcome to the November meeting video. It's a little chilly, it's November, and by the time you see this, Election Day will be over. I'm glad all of you survived, or hopefully that you did. As we normally do, we're going to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, as we always do, we'll have a moment of silence for those that have fallen. All right. We are indeed fortunate to once again have the Villages Honor Flight Hub president, Rob Hempel, is going to address us today. So Rob, over to you.
Thank you, Al, for allowing me the opportunity to speak to the club. I was going to start out by giving you the latest information at the national level. However, I thought that after seeing last night this documentation on our World War II heroes, it was called Normandy Revisited. And the Villages actually had a role in producing this documentary. And I was delighted to be able to sit down last night and watch it. I would encourage all of you to take some time out of your busy schedules and to watch this important documentary, because it was about D-Day and it was through the eyes of the actual veterans who had participated in the D-Day invasion. And I must say, after watching it, it's about a 50-minute film. I was almost moved to tears because of some of the contributions that these veterans had, and it made you feel like you were right there with them at the time of that invasion, which we all know changed history and saved the world. So we are going to put that out on our news article, the newsletter. I've already given the link to Hector, and we will try and put it anywhere we think you may have an opportunity to see it. That may even include a mass email. So be looking for that. And again, I would encourage everybody to watch it because it's a wonderful film. And it was done by Benjamin Mack Jackson, who back then, when he first started this project, was only 14 years old and was being supervised by his mother. But now I believe he's 19 or 20, and he appears in the video, and he's a great young man for taking on this project and then doing such a wonderful job with it. Now on to national news. This has been a crazy year. Everybody understands that. We can't do anything about it. There's nothing to blame for it. It's a pandemic. And the best thing we can do during a crisis like a pandemic is just do the best you can and try and get through it. And that's what we're all doing here at Villages Honor Flight. It impacted us in a way that we never saw coming. Last year, this time of year, I had just finished my mission to DC, and I had taken one of the trainees who was going to be a new flight director, and I had big hopes for the spring on, having some successful missions, but of course that didn't happen. And now we're at the end of the year, and the reality is we will not be having any missions possibly until the fall of 2021. I say that because Meredith Rosenbeck, who is the CEO of Honor Flight Network, has pushed back now our earliest date to February 28th. And anyone who is involved with the planning and organization of a mission understands it takes months to be able to prepare a mission. So with that information, we're not going to be able to do any spring missions. That's a reality now. There's a possibility, and this will be largely on the Vice President of Operations, Lisa Walters, as to maybe if we can do a flight list towards the end of the spring. But again, that's still up in the air. I can say this as the president, and this has the consensus of our management team, we will not do a mission until we know we can keep both our veterans and our volunteers safe. And that probably has to be when a vaccine is produced and is accepted. We're working on protocols. When I say we, I speak of our management team, so that when we are given the green light to fly again, we're going to be doing it in a safe manner for everyone involved. That is priority one. So when we hear more news, we of course will pass it on, either in one of these club presentations or possibly in Hector's newsletter. But we want to give you as much information as we can regarding where we are with the COVID and how it's impacting honor flight. On the state level, we meet monthly as the state leadership, and we discuss the information that comes down from national. We want to make sure we have a consensus with everybody in Florida that on where we're going and how we're going to get there. So that's the purpose of these state meetings. And they are all in agreement that we do not want to fly until there's a vaccine and it's safe to do so. So unfortunately, I know that's not the kind of news we're wanting to hear, but again, it's all about safety, and we are forced to suspend our missions possibly until the fall, at least the missions that would be taking us to DC. Another thing that we are doing, and since I have this opportunity to speak to everybody, I just want to thank those that have been involved in this project. But we have been putting together, when I say we, I talk of the state hubs and the volunteers that have come forward to assist us in this project. But we are endeavoring to have a Florida license tag that will say honor flight. And the good news of that is it will be a revenue source for all of the hubs. Every tag that gets sold in a county, $30 of the money for that specialty tag will go directly to honor flight, that honor flight hub that services that county. So for those who may not know, we have 5 counties that we serve. And so we are in the process right now of getting this into the legislature so that it can be approved. And then once that's approved, we've already been assured by our governor that he's all for this. Even though one of his projects for coming into his position as governor was to reduce the amount of specialty tags, when he heard of this one, he says, I'm all in for it. So we get it through the legislature, and I can see that happening by the beginning of 2022. There's still work to be done, though. We are right now in the stage where we're lobbying our legislators and our senators to get sponsors for the bill, and then also to make sure that once it does go to the floor for a vote, we have the needed numbers to make it happen. And this is a bipartisan effort. We're reaching out to Democrats, Republicans, because we all feel they all support veterans, and that's what this is about. It's just helping us to get the resources we need to do what we do, and that's honoring veterans. So when we get more news on that, I'll be sure to share it with you as we go into the process. One last thing about the state is we've been led at the state level by a really fantastic volunteer by the name of Bill Wessler. He is the president of the Florida Space Coast, and he does take the lead on these conferences that we have with all the other hub leadership. Now, he's just been given a promotion, if you will, to where he will now be the president chairman of the Honor Flight Network. So we're losing him in the state, but he's been replaced by another individual who I have a lot of confidence in, and I don't see any issues with the state level. But with Bill's background, he was a lieutenant general in the Air Force. He's been in leadership positions that have given him a lot of leadership skills, and I see a lot of good things for the Honor Flight Network through Bill's leadership. And so good things to come once we do finally get going again and we're serving under Bill Wessler. So that is some really good news. On the local level, with Villages Honor Flight, we the management team, we do meet. We've been meeting probably every 3 months, and we are in the process right now as the management team to put together protocols and procedures so that once we are given the green light to fly again, we're going to do it safely. It's a all on deck type of situation. We want everybody's input. We want to hear ideas for how we can have these missions run with safety, and that is the priority, as I said before. And I envision by the end of the year, we'll have that in place, and then that'll be in time for when we have our January board meeting, and then I can present it to the board for acceptance. Another thing, I want to speak a little bit to the ladies that are a big part of the Tri-County Women's Veterans. They have taken the initiative, as you all may know, that they want to be able to fly all women, all veterans on a future mission. And one of the first things we did tell them was we will support that, provided that they come up with the needed funds to make it happen. Well, they've already reached their financial goals, so that trip will happen, but it won't happen until we, Honor Flight, are able to make sure that the women that will be participating as squad leaders and as experienced guardians, they have the necessary experience to be able to do their own mission with the guidance of our staff. So that's going to take some time. And while we did plan to have a spring meeting or a spring mission in 2021 for the women, that's not going to happen. The earliest it may happen now would be the spring of 2022. And that's because some of these ladies that are going to volunteer as squad leaders and experienced guardians, they have to be brought up to speed with experience by serving on missions so that they are exactly like the same squad leaders that we use when we fly these missions. And that's because we are invested in making sure our veterans have the best day of their life, or one of the best days of their life. And we want these people that are involved trained just like the squad leaders and the staff that we take on a mission. So that's where we are now. I'm hoping 2022 springtime we can do this, but time will tell. One last thing before I say goodbye is back in September, we were very fortunate to have a new partner, and that is the Mission Barbecue, which is now opened a store in Lady Lake. Why I say that is because these people are 100% for veterans and 100% for the first responders. If you haven't been to the store yet for a barbecue sandwich or ribs, I would encourage you to do so, because you're going to be overwhelmed by the photographs and the memorabilia they have on their walls. It's all related to veterans. It's related to the first responders. And at noon every day, everything stops and they play the national anthem. Everybody stands, everybody in the kitchen, behind the counters, they all stand at attention, and the national anthem is played. It's something to experience, and I feel fortunate that we have a partner like Mission Barbecue supporting us. They are also raising funds for Honor Flight, And if you didn't see it, I'll just mention it briefly. We were on Fox and Friends back in September when a check for $493,000 was presented to Meredith and Bill, the national network. And this was money that was raised in just 1 year by the selling of these cups that have the village, or not, I'm sorry, the National Honor Flight emblem. And $2 from each sale goes directly to that fund, which in turn goes back to Honor Flight. So these are great partners, and we're looking forward to the future with them and raising and different types of fundraisers. They're just great people. I met personally with the two founders of the company, great gentlemen and great patriots. So we're indeed fortunate to have Mission Barbecue here in the Villages. In closing, one last thing too that just came up this morning, almost forgot it, but on 11/11, which is Veterans Day, the Villages Veterans Park is planning a ceremony. They've extended an invitation to us, and I'm still going through it, but I want to assure that they have the appropriate safety protocols in place so that those who do plan to attend can do it in a safe manner. But if you would like to attend, I strongly encourage you wear a mask, you have your blue Honor Flight shirt on, and you bring your own chair, and keep in mind the 6-foot social distancing rule, and you should be fine. But that will be at 10 a.m. on 11/11 at the Veterans Memorial Park. In closing, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope they can have a very Merry Christmas. I'm sorry for what has happened this year. Who saw it? I became president in January, and I still don't have an active mission under me. So we're all feeling that way, but we will get through this. We're not the kind of volunteers that are used to just sitting idle, but I assure you that once we get going again, we're going to be right back to where we were, and we're going to be making a veteran very happy. And that's what we're all about. Keeping our veterans happy by giving them the mission on an honor flight that they so much deserve. So again, thank you. And everybody, please be safe. Look forward to seeing you in person sooner than later. Out.
Thanks, Rob. That was a lot of really good information. Just one other point that I didn't know, but happened to hear about the Mission Barbecue, and that is so for all of you World War II veterans or guardians that have a World War II veterans, all World War II veterans eat for free. Now that may just be a sandwich, but you can go in, and if you're a World War II veteran, you get a free sandwich or a free meal. So it's something to think about. So in keeping with our service recognition, today we're doing the 5th service, and that's the Coast Guard. We have, again, one of our own, Tom Lynch, who is a Coast Guard veteran and is going to present a whole lot of really great information about the U.S. Coast Guard. Tom, over to you.
Hi, I'm Tom Lynch, and I'm going to give you a little information about the Coast Guard. The United States Coast Guard, the USCG, is a coastal defense search and rescue and maritime law enforcement branch of the United States Armed Forces and one of the country's 8 uniformed services. The Coast Guard is a maritime, military, multi-mission service unique among the U.S. military branches for having a maritime law enforcement mission with jurisdiction in both domestic and international waters, and a federal regulatory agency mission as part of its duties. It operates under the U.S. Department of Homeland Security during peacetime and can be transferred to the U.S. Department of the Navy under the Department of Defense by the U.S. President at any time, or by the U.S. Congress during times of war. Prior to its transfer to Homeland Security, it operated under the Department of Transportation from 1967 to 2003, and the Department of Treasury from its inception. until 1967. A congressional authority transfer has only happened once in 1917 during World War I. And when the U.S. entered World War II in December 1941, the Coast Guard had already been transferred by Franklin Roosevelt in November. Created by the U.S. Congress on 4 August 1790 at the request of Alexander Hamilton as the Revenue Marine. It is the oldest continuous seagoing service of the United States. As Secretary of the Treasury, Hamilton headed the Revenue Marine, whose original purpose was collecting customs duties at U.S. seaports. By the 1860s, the service was known as the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service, and the term Revenue Marine gradually fell into disuse. The modern Coast Guard was formed by a merger of the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service and the U.S. Life Saving Service on 28 January 1915, and under the U.S. Department of Treasury in 1939. The U.S. Lighthouse Service was also merged into the Coast Guard. As one of the country's 6 armed services, the Coast Guard has been involved in every major U.S. war since 1790, from the quasi-war with France to the global war on terrorism. The Coast Guard has approximately 41,000 active duty personnel, 7,000 reservists, and 8,577 full-time civilian employees, and 31,000 auxiliary members for a total workforce of 87,569. The Coast Guard maintains an extensive fleet of 243 coastal and ocean-going patrol ships, tenders, tugs, icebreakers, and 1,650 smaller boats, as well as an aviation division consisting of 201 helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft. While the U.S. Coast Guard is the second smallest of the U.S. military service branches in terms of membership, the U.S. Coast Guard by itself was the world's 12th largest naval force in 2018. There are 2 short videos available and should be linked. See the Coast Guard in action. Thank you for your attention. Semper Paratus, always prepared. Back to Al Arnold.
Thanks, Tom. Wow, that is a lot of really cool information about the Coast Guard. There's a lot of that I didn't know. The 12th largest in the world. Wow. Okay, just a couple other little things. As Rob talked to you about our missions and the postponement of them until next year, similarly, we're postponing our monthly meetings that normally are held at Colony for all the same reasons. We want to make sure that when we do get together that we have something worthy to talk about and that we keep ourselves safe. We don't want to get together with 500 people in an 8x10 room where that would not be the right thing to do. So we'll certainly be letting you know what we're going to do on meetings, but we probably aren't going to have any meetings at least until next year. Secondly, you may have noticed a couple emails from me recently regarding some marketing activities. There was one that was held a couple weeks ago at Packett's Farm Museum, where we had an opportunity to set up a table and a canopy to talk about Villages Honor Flight and hand out some material. I want to thank all the people that volunteered for that because it was an all-day event. So thank you for doing that. We've got another one coming up in a couple weeks on the 15th and the 22nd of November for the Veterans Villages Softball Tournament, where we're going to be doing the same thing. You should have seen an email from me regarding volunteer opportunities to do that. Again, that'll be very short shifts for you to sit and talk about Villages Honor Flight and help get the word out. So we appreciate all the volunteers and helping us kind of keep in the fight. We really appreciate it. So without further ado, I also want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and hope you all stay safe. Goodbye.